Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and we are joined once again by the Dollar Vigilante Jeff Berwick here in Las Vegas, Nevada for Freedom Fest. And I wanted to continue to go into the cryptocurrency world with you, Jeff, because, well, basically you are the authority on this issue, and I really want to get your insight on a few things. So we've seen some ultra bloodbaths recently in the crypto markets, specifically with altcoins. What do you attribute this correction to?
Yeah, it is interesting. So we just saw each other, a few weeks ago in the Red Pill Expo in Montana, and since then so much has happened. Like, it's gone up a lot, it's gone down a lot, a couple times I believe. Yeah. The most recent was about a week, well actually if you look back about a month ago, we started a pullback in the cryptos. Bitcoin hit 3,000, Ethereum hit 400. And I came out, and actually in my newsletter to our private subscribers, I suggested everyone take some profits. I said this has gone pretty high, pretty fast, especially Ethereum. And it took a major pullback, and Bitcoin actually went down below 2,000 twice since then. Ethereum went down below 200. It's now just above 200. Then what happened in the last couple of days, within 2 days, all the cryptocurrencies rose 50% in total. It was from $60 billion to over $90 billion market cap right now. Bitcoin was down below $1,800. Within 2 days, it was above $2,800. And I believe that's because of, I think we're pretty close to sort of a resolution to this potential fork issue. And so I think that's the main reason that they've bounced back at the moment. But I'm just writing to subscribers right now that anything could happen with this fork issue still. It's definitely not written in stone, and we've seen that so many times in the Bitcoin world where these things change every day. So we could see another down leg here if some news comes out. For example, a lot of people are speculating that there is an agreement, but it might not include SegWit, and if it doesn't include it, it gets very complicated. But I'm not even a techie, and most people aren't, so it's really hard to even know what's really going on. So definitely, like all the critics of cryptocurrencies out there who say it's volatile, they're absolutely right. It's very volatile. This is a small market, and there's a lot going on, and these things can go up and down a lot in the meantime.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a new industry. People have to remember that this is coming from 2009. I mean, this is brand new, and when you have a market that goes from, with a market cap of 18 billion for all the cryptocurrencies to about 115 billion in a few months from January to about June, obviously that's going to cause massive volatility, as it would in any market, because that's a massive growth. And these corrections, it's good to see. I feel safer with seeing these corrections with my Bitcoin, with my Litecoin, with my Dash, with my Ethereum, with my STEEM, with my Golem. I feel safer about it because I feel like, you know, if it just kept going up sky high for year after year without ever dropping and making any substantial corrections, then that could actually be a bubble, like people who have absolutely no idea what they're talking about when it comes to cryptocurrency, like Peter Schiff would say, it's a bubble, as he's been saying since about $18. But when it comes down to it, the corrections, the major corrections, are kind of a safety net from an actual bubble. I mean, also, being decentralized, can it really form an ultimate bubble in the long run compared to these derivative markets, which are inflated by manipulation?
That's a good question. The word bubble, of course, is a very vague term. It seems to mean when things go up way too high and then they crash. Most bubbles are actually caused by central banks. They're caused by money printing. So the tech bubble in the year 2000 was caused by Alan Greenspan printing so much money because of the Y2K supposed crisis, which was total BS. Like it's absolute just lies all these times. These central bankers, they actually do it on purpose. They build up the thing and then they pop it. And they've been doing this ever since, well, at least the early 20th century, because they did it for the Great Depression. They pumped up the money supply massively. Everyone started buying in, and then they popped it. And by withdrawing the money supply, at least quite a large amount back then, and then they buy up everything on pennies on the dollar. So they do this over and over and over, and they just get richer and richer and richer. And most people haven't figured this out yet. So that happened in 2000, and of course 2008, the real estate bubble. So the question is now, is the cryptocurrencies a bubble? And as much as Peter Schiff, we would agree that he seems to know nothing about the cryptocurrencies. And, you know, to be nice to Peter Schiff, like I actually agree with him on many, many things. I think he's very smart in Austrian economics. He called the housing bubble crash great, excellent stuff. He's very smart on a lot of stuff. But for whatever reason, he just has a blockage when it comes to cryptocurrencies. But that is a good question, because you pointed out how much the cryptocurrencies have gone up in value. They've gone up tenfold in the last year. That's a lot. And so it definitely could be overheated. You never know you're in a sort of a bubble until it's over. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I've said this a few times, to see the altcoins still have a major pullback. I've said for a while that the only cryptocurrency that I don't think's really gone crazy is Bitcoin. If you look at it, it's up about 200% in the last 6 months or maybe 9 months. That's nothing too crazy. It's had a lot of development. If you look at the usage of Bitcoin, it's soared. The amount of people doing things with Bitcoin, and it's all supply and demand. So that not so much. But when you look at something like Ethereum that goes from $2 when I recommended it last year in 2016 in January to over $400 in 18 months, that's pretty wild.
Incredible. And I mean, the correction in Bitcoin was far lesser than the altcoins, where we saw just insane. Ethereum, I mean, if you didn't know enough about cryptocurrencies, I don't blame people for standing there and going, what is happening? Am I going to lose everything? Because obviously people need to be educated on how this market works and how it fluctuates and how it's not like the centralized markets. It's decentralized, and it's due to correct and grow. And I mean, in the coming years, I'm looking forward to becoming a millionaire, because I've got a decent amount in the in cryptocurrencies, and I'm looking forward to this because it's changed my life, and I know it's changed your life. It changed so many people's lives, because I mean, it continues to grow. The scarcity with Bitcoin, the 21 million, really helps it with its demand. It helps it grow. And I mean, I can see it hitting the sky in the next 5 years, even in the next 3 years. There's a potential for it to just create incredible dividends in its growth. But so many people panic and sell off in mass when a correction occurs, causing the correction to become greater. It seems that many investing in cryptocurrencies don't actually understand how they work and don't seem to do due diligence before putting money into them. Is this a dangerous trend?
What you're describing is the entire human history of investing. When people, that's just your typical market reaction. Most people lose money trading and investing. That's just the matter. They do the exact opposite of what they should be doing. You pointed out when things really go down. Your average person, when they hear there's a sale down at the store, they rush down there and buy as much as they can. They do the exact opposite when it's investments. People have, for whatever reason, a sort of a reverse psychology to do the exact wrong thing when it comes to investing. And this is not limited at all to cryptocurrencies. You brought up some interesting points that I think are interesting. I'm still not sure what to think of this boom in the cryptocurrencies. It scares me a little bit that some people like yourself are talking about, I'm going to be a millionaire. That's not exactly what you said, but you're thinking that way, right? That's a little.
Can be.
You're thinking that way, though, right? And I've heard so many people talking that way. That makes me wonder if we haven't gone up too high too fast. This is what kind of happens all the time. I remember with tech stocks, I was there for the tech bubble in the late 1990s. And I got into a taxi, I think it was here in Vegas, and the guy was telling me about how he had just bought all these tech stocks. You know, he's a taxi driver, right? And whenever you hear that, you get a little, okay, this might have gone too high too fast now. However, I'm not hearing that. I'm not getting into taxis anywhere and having them tell me about Litecoin or Dogecoin or anything like. So it hasn't reached that level yet. But I think it's interesting. We'll see what happens. I'd really like to see a major pullback in the valuations to really wash out all of that euphoria, all that people thinking this is going to go to the moon. At the same time, though, I really think it's going to go to the moon. Well,
I mean, that's the thing, because there's so much potential demand that hasn't been met yet. I mean, there's so much of the public that hasn't gotten into Bitcoin. A large population of older people, of course, are a bit more skeptical of it because, first of all, for 40, 50 years, they've been told, you have to invest in this, put some money down, you'll get residual income, you're going to grow in value, you can't lose. And it's almost always been a pyramid scheme. It's almost always been a Ponzi scheme. Yet in this case, the likelihood of you making a great amount of dividends is far more greater than with these, like, obviously pyramid schemes where you need a network and you need to, connect with all these big names in order to actually profit instead of just getting screwed over. So I think that it's important to try and get to the older people in the movement. For example, I did an interview with Ron Paul a few days ago, and I mean, he isn't aware of cryptocurrencies. I mean, he has heard of them, but he's saying, well, I'm not too trusting of them. And it's hard to, first of all, it's hard to argue with Ron Paul. It's just, it doesn't feel good. But I mean, it just goes to show that people that are incredibly smart, brilliant people, can't get past that little leap into the crypto world. And that actually does, in a way, make me a bit more optimistic as well, because people will learn over the years and will see this demand get met. So I think for the next several years, we could see a big boom. Because of all the untapped demand that's out there. So many people will be getting into cryptocurrency in the next few years.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It really reminds me of the internet, because I was around at the start of the internet. And in 1994, I'd go to, I started Canada's largest financial website called stockhouse.com, still the largest financial website in Canada. And at the beginning, we were helping public companies on the stock market make websites for the companies. So I'd go into to talk to a CEO, and I'd go, "Hey, you need a website?" And they'd go, "This is like 1994 or 95," and they'd go, "What's a website?" And I'd go, "It's on the internet." And they'd go, "What's the internet?" That was the level. That's where I was at. And I remember telling people, I quit my job at the bank. I'm like, the internet's going to be huge. This is going to be bigger than anything anyone could ever imagine. And most people thought I was crazy. Paul Krugman, the great writer of at the New York Times, the Nobel-winning economics guy, said in the late 90s, this is like 99 or something, he said, but at the end of the day, we'll see that the effect of the internet has been no greater than that of the fax machine. So that was, people really thought that. And so these, again, are kind of the older people, right? And that's kind of to your point. So we're seeing that again here with, and no offense to older people, they're just not used, they haven't grown up on
and they have
computers.
a reasonable skepticism too, because for good reason there have been a lot of, everyone's been inundated over the years with pyramid schemes.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
You've got to invest in this.
Absolutely. No, I don't blame them. However, I do blame someone like Peter Schiff, who talks about it so much, but never really actually looks into it. Like, he compares Bitcoin to Beanie Babies.
Bitcoin, and he said that this year.
Yeah, it wasn't like 5 years ago he said that. Like, if he said it 5 years ago, I could understand, because maybe, it's probably like Beanie Babies. You've had 5 years to look into it. It's the world's largest supercomputer. It's an amazing a paradigm shift in money and banking. You can transfer $1 million from here to China in a few seconds for almost free. That's not Beanie Babies. And you've got so many people.
And it's not tulips either.
All this sort of stuff. This is a paradigm shift, though. So that's the thing that you have to realize. And people have a really hard time with paradigm shifts. I've been through a few now. Of course, the internet was a big one. And I said, when I first learned about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, I said, this is the biggest thing since the internet. And still to this day, it's interesting, because I was into this in 2011 at $3 in Bitcoin. And back then, everyone thought I was crazy again. No one would listen to me. And now it's getting kind of popular a little bit. Like, a lot of people are agreeing with me now. But then there's still a lot of the people, like, not so much Ron Paul, but certain people just still don't quite get it. They don't really look at it too much, not quite sure. So that also tells me, just like with you, that this has a huge amount of growth, because this is not going away. We're talking about a massive paradigm shift. This changes everything. It's not just currency either. Bitcoin is a currency, but we have so many things like Ethereum. That has nothing to do with currency. That's with smart contracts, which can change the entire world. That can get rid of the whole legal profession. It can get rid of governments as well. Bitcoin can get rid of central banks and fiat currencies. STEEM can get rid of things like Facebook and things like that. So this is This is the second coming of the internet that most people don't realize. However, that said, we did have, I remember in 1999, 2000, I was saying the internet's going to be huge, but we had a massive pullback at that moment in time. The tech bubble collapsed. So we could still see something like that. I'm not sure if this is it, though, yet.
But I mean, Bitcoin and some of the bigger cryptocurrencies are kind of like Google and Amazon to the dot-com bubble. I mean, they got hurt, but they survived and they did well afterwards. And hopefully, Bitcoin isn't taken over by the same thing as Google. But I don't think it can be, because it's decentralized. That's what's so great about it. But I mean, with this recent correction, I feel like at the same time, it's provided a great buying opportunity. And I think that buying opportunity, that so many people are waiting for it to drop so they can get in. And I feel like this drop has allowed a lot of people to start to come into Bitcoin, start to buy Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and can actually lead to a rather large rally long term. What do you think about that? Is there a potential for this correction to actually lead to a massive rally, or is it just going to kind of lean sideways for a while before it pulls up?
There's really no way to know. I can't see a major pullback happening unless we have a major issue, and we could. some of the critiques of cryptocurrency, blockchain, Bitcoin are legitimate. These are new. This is Bitcoin was only created in 2009. Before that, there was nothing like it. So it's only about 8 years old now. It's could be hackable. There could be quantum computing leaps that could cause major issues. Even Ethereum, that thing's got a lot of problems.
Seriously.
And there's so many people who have a vested interest to try to destroy these things. So anything could happen. But the idea is not going away. This concept is not going away. So even if the worst thing in the world happened to Bitcoin, and for some reason it just went away, this is not the end of cryptocurrencies. There'll be another one, and because the idea is great, and the technological innovation is so useful and applicable in so many ways to so many people, especially in this digital age today. And then, of course, you'll have some people who say, well, what if the government turns off the internet or turns off the power? Well, yeah, then Bitcoin's going to have big problems, but you're going to be, getting your shotgun ready to fight off the zombies who want to get in to steal your food, right? So Bitcoin will be one of the last concerns on your mind. But the fact that people are actually worried about that actually shows, how serious of a problem the government is, and the globalists and people like that they actually could do that to retain control.
Absolutely, and I mean, there's that 7-year trend when you analyze the actual trend of Bitcoin over the since 2009 at the daily average rate of growth on a daily basis per year. It's actually heading more towards $250,000 at the rate that it has been at over the last 8 years. Again, that's daily average rate of growth. And that it makes a lot of people more optimistic. I mean, obviously, there's no saying that this is what's going to happen, but I mean, it's interesting. And I mean, even Wall Street insiders are saying that Bitcoin will hit $55,000 by 2021. And I mean, while it does kind of concern me when Wall Street insiders are speculating on Bitcoin in a positive light, at the same time, it's hard to escape the fact that Bitcoin is growing and it has a massive potential. So I'm excited about it, and I wanted to also get into STEEM quickly with you. I wanted to talk about the Berwick Effect, because I've noticed whenever you dig deep into STEEM, the value goes up. I actually remember you did a live broadcast on YouTube, STEEM giveaway, and as you were talking, I'm watching the STEEM value go up, and there's people in the comments going, I haven't really looked into STEEM yet. I got to check that out. And they got on that platform, and they're signing up, and you see the signups going up, and you see the value of STEEM going up. So you tend to have a firm grasp on predicting when a crypto is about to rally and when it's about to correct. You've been correct so many times before. So how do you forecast these trends so well, and what's the first thing you do when you go to forecast the near future of cryptocurrency?
That's a good question, and I actually wonder if I'm not causing some of the things that I'm predicting, because it almost seems to happen as soon as I say something, it happens. I do have probably the biggest audience out there. I don't know of anyone who has a bigger audience who really covers the cryptocurrencies. It's not a massive audience, but maybe a total of like 1 million people total who, through various means, listen to what I say. So not a huge amount, but I guess it is possible that I'm actually creating, because I literally will say, I think maybe the markets need to cool off, and then it'll just start to plummet as soon as I say that. Or I'll say, oh, this is a good time to buy, and you just see it just take off. I could be crazy, though. That might not be happening. I really don't know. What was your question again?
Well, just how you trend, how you forecast future rallies.
You know, to me, the market, cryptocurrencies, has been so amazing to me personally, because I'm not a really good market timer when it comes to stocks or the stock market or any other commodities, anything. I'm just not a trader. I've always been a big picture guy. I've said, okay, the internet's going to be huge, let's get invested in that, or cryptocurrencies. I've never really been a trader, but when it's come to the cryptocurrencies, I've been almost dead on every time with my calls. And I'm almost wondering if it's because it's still quite a free market, as opposed to a very manipulated market like the stock market, where anyone could be playing games. Of course, you can still manipulate cryptocurrencies, but maybe it hasn't been manipulated enough yet that it's actually doing what I think the market should be doing, which makes some sense. So
there's actual fundamentals that you can actually use compared to with centrally planned the fiat system. You can't really trend it that well because there's so much manipulation going on. Yeah,
and I think as well, I have my fingers on the market of the cryptocurrencies. I've been in these since 2011, so I really sense the flows of it. I can sense it, right? So I've been in it for a while. So when I see everyone rushing into it, I'm like, okay, this is too many people all at once. There's going to have to be a pullback here. It just seems obvious to me, that sort of a thing. So it's small enough of a market, and I know the market well enough that I think that's why I've been fairly good at timing it. And then perhaps I also, as I pointed out, kind of cause a lot of the things to happen just by saying them. So for me, it's been just a really weird, crazy,
strange
trip.
experience. Yeah. Well, finishing it off, Jeff, what is the main altcoin that you are looking towards right now? What stands out the most to you in the coming year?
That's a good question. There's so many interesting ones. I've said it before that Bitcoin is still like the big one. However, so many interesting things are coming online right now. Like to people who missed the internet stocks back in the 90s, this is sort of your second chance because there's so many interesting ones. STEEM is very interesting. I don't necessarily, I've never really recommended to a lot of people to buy a lot of STEEM. It's still very, very speculative. Who knows if it'll really work in the long run. But so many interesting ones are coming out now.
Well, STEEM has so many uses. That's the thing, because often you have to base a lot of it on what are its uses. And when you have a social media platform that it really hasn't been tapped into to anywhere close to its full extent yet, then you have that potential demand coming into the market. It's just about getting it to people's eyes and ears and letting people know about it. So I feel like STEEM is something that can potentially actually go up into the top 10 in the next year or so, because of if people are flooding to a social media that they're not being censored on, and they can have the incentive of not putting any money into it, and potentially with good valued posts make potentially thousands of dollars. I mean, what are they waiting for? You can't lose. You could at the worst make a few dollars, but I mean, is that so bad doing what you would do on Facebook anyways? So I feel like there's a lot of potential with STEEM, and I'm not just saying that because I'm posting this video on Steam It after and I'll get all the upvotes, but I mean it because I feel like it's something that's changed my life. I paid for this trip with STEEM to Las Vegas, and I think I never put any money in. I post content and people upvote it, and you gain a bit of a network, and there's no stopping you at one point. So with that, I mean, isn't there a massive market waiting to be tapped into there?
Oh, absolutely. When I first wrote about STEEM about a year ago, I didn't tell people to buy into it. I said, just get on it and do what you're doing and earn STEEM. But I said, I see no reason why this can't take off and become like almost a threat to things like Facebook. It won't happen overnight, but in a year or two, I could totally see that happening. I've been a little surprised how slow it's grown. I think it just passed, what, 250,000 users? That's so small considering how much money you can make on the site for free. I can't believe it. Like, people are just so, I don't want to say dumb, but people are like
overly skeptical.
Overly skeptical. Yeah, when I first told people, and I have like a lot of anarcho-capitalists who follow me. A lot of them very rational and you know, very thinking sort of people. And I posted a year ago, just get on STEEM, you can make money. And everyone's like, it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme. I'm like, no, it isn't. Like, if you actually look at it, it might not work out in the long run. That's possible. This is a brand new thing, but it's absolutely not a scam. Like a scam that no one makes. It's not. I've never known a scam where everyone makes money from it.
I know, it's ridiculous. And there's millionaires that show up on Steam It and like people's content, and they upvote it. I've watched some of my posts go from 25 cents to $700 in a minute, and been sitting there on my computer going, oh, okay, I'll make a few dollars on it, refresh, boom, there it is, $700 and something. And I'm thinking, like, what are people waiting for? And I mean, one of the interesting predictions that I've seen for Steem It was, I mean, the Stephen Kendall guy that we found on Max Kaiser a while back ago, I've never seen him make a faulty prediction. He pegged the exact peak for Steem at $2.80 when it was at 55 cents, I believe, and perfectly bang on there. It peaks and then it corrects. And I heard him saying, you know, it's going to be 650,000 users by the end of 2017. And I think it's a fair prediction, because if you look at the rate of the climb between last July especially and today, going to 250K, as more people flow in, more people are bringing in their friends, and as that happens, the more it grows. So I feel like, you know, Steem It is going to be something to be reckoned with in the future, just as long as we continue to keep people aware of it and keep it in people's view. But I mean, I have to thank you for getting me into STEEM, because it was your video that got me into there. And yeah, I thought it was kind of probably a scam when I first got into it, but the proof is in the pudding. You know, I have to show people my wallet. Look, this is what I earn. Why aren't you trying this? You know, it's just so incredible. And when people are being censored on Facebook, they're being censored on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I mean, Twitter and Instagram, why do people even use those sites anymore? They're terrible. I mean, this could be the future, and I really hope more people get into this. But Jeff, I'm always happy to talk with you. It's good to see you here in Vegas. You know, it's another incredible conference, and hoping to bring the message of anarcho-capitalism and voluntarism to a few people that are still kind of on the edge. And I think that makes it so worth it, because we need to keep educating people about these issues and kind of allow people to grow with the information that is necessary for them to do so. So thank you for talking with us again, and I hope to see you, and I probably will, at a conference sometime soon. But most importantly, I can't wait for Anarcho-Polko 2018. That was just an incredible conference, and I really hope our viewers check out Anarcho-Polko and buy their tickets. It's going to be another great year, so thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, no problem. It's we're just about to announce the dates, so it's just coming out. So it'll probably be in the next few days we'll announce, but it's February 15th to 18th in 2018. Awesome. And yeah, we expect it to be another great event, and look forward to seeing you down there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Like what we do here at WHAM? Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored by YouTube. Also, check our Bitcoin address in the description and the comments, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also find me at Josh Sigurdson at steemit.com. That's steemit.com. The future of social media, where you get paid in cryptocurrency to blog and post. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.